Guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another chat. This chat is with Patrick, who you've seen on my channel before. Unfortunately, I didn't click the record button soon enough, so you entered the chat kind of partway through after about 10 minutes or something like that. Prior to that, we were talking about the self, how we perceive reality, synchronicity. Is synchronicity real? Is it something else? Is there another dynamic behind it all? Is it connecting to the divine? A lot of different questions that we were talking about. But here's the conversation from where I press record for you to catch up with that conversation. So enjoy. All right, we'll go from there.
I've not got a channel. Not got a channel yet. But yeah, so I was listening to this podcast and this bloke was talking about like, law of attraction and whatnot. And he says he doesn't call it a universe, he calls it the U-inverse. And I was like, oh wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Switch it round.
It is the U-inverse. And yeah, what was the kind of thing that hit me with that? Well, yeah, like I was saying before, all these different characters, you know, Ian, my girlfriend, my mom, my dad, all these different characters, they are a projection of my mind. You know, it's me, And the other thing with the U inverse, I'd always wondered. I'd listened to a guy called Jason Brashears from Archaic. So do you know him?
I know the name. I've probably seen something.
Yeah, he's like very much into simulation theory and talks about how the simulation kind of like reboots every 130 38 years and things like that, Phoenix events, whatnot. So I looked at his stuff, and he says, yeah, the simulacrum, he calls it the simulacrum, will reflect back to you whatever you believe to be true about yourself. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, why is that? Do you know, like that kind of construct and us, why would it reflect back to us what's true? And I realized, oh, it's because it is us. You know, it is us. Like it is our it can't not reflect back. You know what they say about law of attraction and stuff. Just be who you want to be. You'll kind of become it, or whatever. What you believe to be true about yourself will manifest. You know.
Yeah.
And Jason Brashears talks about, oh, the simulacrum. It will never have you as a liar. It will never have you as a liar. It will always reflect back the truth, even if you believe something horrendous about yourself, like it's the opposite of love. It will reflect that back. And yeah, because it's the U inverse, right?
Yeah.
So that was the other thing that set off my kind of most recent awakening, expansion,
like realization.
Realization. Yeah, I was like, oh wow, okay, okay.
Interesting twist on words and letters, and the way it's word and letter just to twist that round. You inverse. Yeah.
It's true, isn't it? Really makes sense. That's why, like you said, talk about like synchronicities and stuff. That's why synchronicities happen. You're making them happen.
Yeah, you're creating that energy with your vibration, your awareness, your intention, whatever it might be. You're creating that that event, and that creation comes into existence through the act of the intention and the thought alone. And many people, like, they still call it coincidence and just think it's just a chance occurrence.
Yeah.
But when it starts happening quite a lot, you start thinking, hang on a minute, this is like getting a bit like weird now, a little bit creepy, because I keep waking up at 3 whatever, or in the morning, or I keep seeing these numbers on my clock, or just wherever I'm walking, and you're just like, that there must be something going on, that someone somewhere is trying to give me a message.
Yeah.
And that again is awakening of the self, isn't it? Because it's the ego can't comprehend it, and the conscious mind can't comprehend it. So you have to go deeper into the self, and then the self is the true self is saying, like, look, just fucking pay attention, you know. Like, and it's trying to give you constant messages and signs and symbols and synchronicities that you need to be aware of something. And you know, I think everyone that I know of that is on a spiritual journey has come across these things. So it can't just be chance occurrence. It's happening
Yeah.
to certain people at certain times in their evolutionary stages of consciousness. And
Yeah.
it's just fascinating. And obviously we um talked on camera a little bit before I clicked the remember to click the record button. But um what I've been thinking about quite a bit lately as well is just when I've been out with the dogs and walking the dogs around the park, and I'm looking around and I'm seeing the world through obviously my physical eyes, and again, that is the reflection. The physical world that I'm seeing is a reflection into my physical eyes, and I'm like, right, okay, so this is kind of like the physical reality. And then I'm starting to receive, like what I was saying before about like these messages and downloads of information, which um the information that it's really weird because it doesn't kind of like stay for long. It kind of like goes in, does what it needs to, and then subsides and goes wherever it needs to within me. Um, there was a point to
Yeah.
was there was a point to this, but it's gone. And that's kind of like, and there's been a few people I've been speaking to lately, and who I've noticed as well that have been having real issues with kind of like memory loss as well,
Yeah.
and
Oh, 100%.
that's a
100%.
that's a big thing for a lot of people at the minute. And
Yeah. Yeah.
um this sort of like, I'd say probably these last 6 months it's been building up and building up, but it's gradually just getting like worse and worse and worse.
Mm.
And then I'm thinking, well, you know, these people that have memory loss that are kind of like medically prescribed things and whatever, and they said, oh, you got this, or you got this, or you got this, you know, is that something they're actually suffering with, or is it just something else that's going on? Is it an expansion of consciousness? I just
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. When people
same
get
with
older, isn't
people.
it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you tend to become wiser as you get older, and you become more. I suppose you become more down to earth. You become more grounded. You're more able to um let things go. You know, when you get to a certain age, you're just like, what is the point in like getting so wound up and so worked up about things? You know, and you just kind of like just ride the waves and you just go with it. And that is kind of like something that many of us just like are always like looking for. We're just looking for that level of peace and just surrender and just being able to just ride the waves, and whatever happens, happens.
Mm.
Um, and it's the same with people that have, say, you know, like schizophrenia and things like that, that they get told that they have this, um, and that they're seeing demons, or they're seeing angels, or they're seeing people who have passed on, or they're having crazy thoughts. Are they just like too open? You know, do they need some sort of energetic internal assistance to try and just bring that
Mm.
in? Um, yeah, because there's a lot that the 3D reality deems to know and tells us, well, that's what it is.
Yeah. On that bit, um, it's still something even now, like coincidence. I mean, how much faith have you got to have in a theory such as coincidence?
Mm,
A lot. Do you know? When we know like the laws are like cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, it's
mm,
an absolute law. So to have like a belief even in coincidence, oh, it's just happened. Oh, it's just happened. It's
yeah.
absolutely nonsensical if you really like think about it. Like,
Mm.
but it's just been so deeply ingrained in us that
It's entrenched, isn't it, into our
oh yeah, oh
level
it
of
just happens. Oh, it just
yeah.
happens. Oh, it's just like oh, it's this, it's that.
Don't put too
Like,
much thought into it. Don't think about it too much. That's the other thing people say. Oh, it's just one of them things. Don't think about it too much. You know, but we need thinkers, don't we? We need people who are ready to actually hang on a minute and try and work things out.
mm, yeah, Yeah, that belief is just so deeply entrenched. Even now, like as I'm talking about it with you, it's a form of like integration, right? That's why I love having these kind of conversations because you get to speak about things freely, hear yourself talk about them, and as you're speaking, you're like, "Oh, that's true. I
Mm,
should actually do that."
mm.
Um, that yeah, that and have you looked into like flat Earth or not? You stay
I
away
did
from
I did a while back,
that.
but
Yeah,
I've just stayed away from it now. I just think it's a
yeah.
load of I don't go with it. I don't go with the concept of it all. I just can't. I can't. There's too many questions that I just can't get my head around it.
You got to do a lot of research. It took me
Mm,
6 months to actually start to accept the possibility of a different model of
mm,
Earth. Do you know?
mm,
Not saying you can't really say you know.
mm. Well, that's
You
it. That I
know?
mean,
No one knows.
you
Like,
can't prove that it's round, and you can't prove that it's flat. You can't prove that it's hexagonal. You can't prove that um it is actually Earth. You know, it might not even be Earth. It might be somewhere somewhere else. We can't really
yeah.
say that that's exactly where we're at. And I think for that reason, that's why I didn't want to go too deep in with it, because I just thought, well, I'm never going to know the answer anyway, unless I actually put a spacesuit on, go in a rocket and fly into space and look down at the planet
I
or the flat.
I don't want to break your heart, mate, but you're never
So
gonna.
exactly.
I've looked into
So
it that far enough, but space is absolutely fake. Made in a Hollywood basement, as the Red Hot Chili Peppers sang.
well, that's the whole moon landing thing. I didn't you
It's
know
laughable.
it's just like when I was a kid, I was just like, oh wow, that looks amazing. You look at it now and you think, hang on a minute, how is that flag flying? It doesn't. There's no air on the moon. Like, it's just weird how you get to a certain point in time, and you don't have to be elderly.
Mm,
We were saying before, like how people like get older and they get more wisdom and they just like let things go. You don't have to be elderly for this stuff to happen. We're kind of like proof of that. Uh, but there's even younger than us that are stepping onto this kind of journey as well,
mm,
and questioning so much. But yeah, I mean that was just like, and then I think it was last year, or no, it was during the whole COVID um fiasco, that me and a mate of mine were that lives over in another town nearby, and we were talking and just talking about everything that was going on, and then he started getting into like the moon landings, and we're talking about the moon landings, and he said, hang on a minute. So he said, right, he said, if they really did land on the moon, he said, you can't even get a secure connection through Skype. Now they had perfect signal in
on the phone as well, isn't it?
on the phone, back and forth via video from the moon to the, like, yeah, whatever. So yeah, but again, that's people's level of consciousness at the time, level of awareness, because they had this new technology called a television,
Mm.
which I renamed. It's like Tell Me Vision because it's all programming, and so they were just like hooked into that. So everything that they were showing, it was just a level of belief, because that became their illusory self, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. It is laughable, isn't it? Makes me it's laughable, but then I'm also like quite uneasy because I'm like, oh, like we were talking
What's
about
next?
before.
Like, what's next to come?
Well, what don't we know? Do you know what I'm
What
saying?
don't we know? Yeah,
Like, what do we not? What do we not? What are we getting
yeah.
wrong here?
What is actually going on behind
What is this?
the illusion of the media and all that wants to try and keep people, um I suppose, stagnating in the belief of what is happening in the mainstream
Oh
world.
well, no, well, we know the mainstream media is a load of bullshit. It's just to
Mm,
keep people in a low state of
yeah, exactly.
vibration, so they don't expand. You know, so they don't
Mm,
ask questions. They can still be like,
still compliant and just going along with it all.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm,
And ultimately, I don't know what you think about this, but I feel it's kind of just like a game on a deep level. It's kind of just a game with God or consciousness is playing with itself. Do you know? So
mm,
we can have this evolution of like consciousness evolving through
Mm.
time. So we do need these, like, it's just inevitable, isn't it? You're
Well,
gonna.
it's just the shifts, isn't it? It's the shifts in and out. You constantly have to shift in and out of stages of awakening or consciousness, whatever you want to call it, because like what you were saying, you were going through like a lot of unraveling. And as we go through these shifts, a lot of stuff does stir up
Mm,
that we have to work with and we have to heal ourselves.
yeah.
And that helps to heal the collective. So we're always going through these cycles. And the planet as well, is going through the same, or the flat Earth, whatever you want to, is going through
It's all
the.
right. Hey, listen, planet plano is flat.
All right, fair enough.
That
So
planet is literally, yeah. They don't tell any lies. Like,
yeah,
it's all in plain sight. You have to,
is that
yeah.
is that I suppose what plane, 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 planet.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah, plain, yeah. Plano is,
mm,
wow. I speak languages, so that's the other advantage I
yeah,
have. Like the etymology and stuff. I'm like,
yeah,
oh.
yeah, yeah.
No, they normally tell you, but even if it's like right in front of your face, you have to dispel it.
Mm,
Um, yeah, it's all illusory, isn't it?
mm,
Really,
yeah,
the plane,
um,
aeroplane, you know,
yeah,
uh, all of it. Yeah, there's loads.
mm,
I like calling this reality, um, like the holy sphere. Like people call it a hollow sphere, because it's
mm,
holographic, but
mm,
hollow and holy, because all these words always point back to God and oneness, which
mm,
which is the other cool
yeah,
bit of synchronicity,
yeah. And that's another element that people don't think about or don't look at, do they? So it's kind of an added bonus that you've got this language thing on your side where you can actually look at words and think, oh well, actually that, and where they all meet and where the meaning really is.
Mm. Yeah, they all go back to God, oneness. Like it's amazing, honestly. It's amazing how it all just points back to,
Mm, yeah,
yeah,
I've just
one
had
truth.
a sent a message before we came on camera actually, and off a client, and uh she's going to start studying something called gene keys, which I have a little bit of knowledge about, but not loads. And one of my friends over in the States, I think she studied gene keys and made a few videos about it. So anyway, she was just asking my thoughts about it. So I just sent her a message back about it, and um, basically, it's looking at I suppose again, it's the integration of self. It's where you come from. It's how you react with people, how you behave, and it all comes from like the basis of who you are, your life, and your upbringing, and all these different behavioral traits that you develop over time. And then it's looking at ways of how you can interact in a different way to bring, I suppose, like a level of healing back to those gene keys. But I said to her, I said, ultimately, I said, it's everything that we look at points back to the same place. And
Mm.
it's this place of oneness. It's this place of just
Yeah.
finding peace and stillness within, and to find God in yourself, to find the divine, whatever you want to call it, your consciousness. And Jesus said it, the Buddha said it, all these different um ascended masters from the past have all said the same thing, and about finding this consciousness within. Um, so
Mm.
and many people as well, like I said to her, like, so many people a lot of the time are looking externally for that inner self when they should be looking at themselves from within, coming from that place of power, and finding that light within them, which is an extremely uplifting and powerful place to be.
Yeah. If you're the inclination, if you want truth, you can
Mm,
you can get it, you know. get. Like it's not something you will get, but yeah, I try to gently guide my clients to my like counseling clients that I have, you know, because ultimately they come there for truth,
Mm,
you know, and if you can get them to have that little realization of that of truth, then it opens up like
mm,
so much, you know. They go there because they just can't anymore with a problem. They're just at such a low frequency, so much like self-hatred or whatever, shame, or that. So like projecting this anger, which is coming from the shame or guilt or whatever it is, they kind of come in with that external problem. But if you can get them into a place of, oh, okay, so what we're really doing here is looking at, well, what's true? Do you know what do we really know? If
mm.
you can get them in that kind of space, that's like where it kind of
Yeah,
expands and opens. But the person's got to kind of, or the person, you know, the being, that conscious bit of consciousness has got to get to that
yeah.
state
You got to
themselves.
get to that state within themselves, and that
Yeah.
can take time, can't it?
Well, you need some love. You need some. It takes love to
Mm,
do that. Like we saw with like the COVID stuff, it takes self-respect, which is a first form of love, I'd say. Of actually, no, I'm not doing like boundaries. You know, no. Well, you
mm.
can't tell me to do that. You know, that first bit of like love. That's what it takes. That's which is it's cool, and a lot of people have that now, like around the world, don't they? Like a lot of people are,
Mm.
nah, no more of that, no more.
Yeah,
Cool, that's the first bit. It's
yeah.
like have you got the Hawkins scale of consciousness? Have you seen that? You must have seen it, the
I probably will have done. What
shame. Yeah.
can you see it?
Yeah, you've done it.
Right. So
Epic.
there. I just
There we are.
so talk
Okay.
us through it.
I can't remember what I was talking about now. I can't remember where I was going with it. And this is a great graphic anyway. It got like God view.
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it? Like look
It's
at
like
it.
the various kind of vibrational states, isn't it, that we go through, and what holds us down. And um I love how like so much is correlated to the chakra colors as well, because you got red, orange, yellow, green, light blue, dark blue, purple, so it's all these levels of vibrational consciousness that we go through as well within ourselves. So obviously the survival paradigm is the lower emotions, the anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame, which
Mm,
can leave you in these kind of lower frequency states. Um, Also pride, courage, which uh, yeah, they can kind of courage is an unusual one, because it takes courage to be able to speak your truth, doesn't it, as well?
yeah, yeah,
Um, so there is an element of that which needs to be accepted, um, and it's also about, I suppose, not it's not blocking out these emotions and feelings as well, is it? Because we need to accept them and understand them, but we also need to be at a place of again, I suppose, just like having a deeper awareness of where they come from. What do you think about that?
yeah. It's never about trying to escape our feeling. It's yeah.
Mm,
Integration is feeling something, it's feeling the emotion,
mm,
uh, and not judging it. Basically, just
yeah.
think, oh, okay, you know, and or the integration of different emotions will look different.
Mm,
You know, the integration of understanding will look a lot different to integration of like regret.
mm,
And it's not to say even that you feel like you regret and then you move up to anxiety. You know, it's
mm.
not like linear like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Because you move through. different things. So I mean, if
Yeah.
say if you went through a breakup or somebody died that we were close to, a relative or whatever,
Mm.
then you're obviously going to feel grief, but it's having an awareness of where it is and where it's come
Yeah.
from and understanding it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people will just sit and live in grief for
Mm.
years and not be able to get out of it.
Exactly. And that will be their like default
Yeah,
level of awareness, right? Yeah. It's
yeah,
really cool if you like I'm looking at it and then kind of people in my life or even like old versions of myself, you know, like, ah yeah, I could see that, you know.
yeah.
Paradigm of fear. Okay,
Mm.
living in that worldview, like what view of life is, yeah, frightening, God view, punitive, process with withdrawal.
And the thing about the
Wow.
lower element emotions and things that can anchor us and keep us in these lower vibrational states is they will bring around a lot of disease within the physical body as well, because you're holding on to all this stuff for long periods of
Yeah.
time, not accepting it, not letting it integrate and then releasing it. So if you're always getting colds or flus or just general feeling of being run down because your body is in survival paradigm, which is fight or flight. So if you're constantly in a state of fight or flight, you're going to end up probably by the end of your life having some sort of maybe motor neuron disease or something like that, because your body's not being able to release the toxins that
Mm.
adrenal glands release, and let out. And it's interesting because I saw there's a program, and I've talked about this with people loads of times, but it's actually a program called Surviving Death, and it's on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it. And it starts off about near-death experiences and how people um, went to kind of the light and went through the usual journey and then came back after a unusual long periods of time, but still living a healthy life. And then it went into kind of like mediumship and mediums. And one of the mediums was a trance mediumship, but she also did healing work. And she worked with uh, a doctor in, I suppose, in spirit. And one of the patients that went in to see him, the medical industry just couldn't help him whatsoever.
Mm.
They kept giving him medication, and just nothing helped. So this was kind of like the last straw. So he went to see her, um, and she did some healing work on him. And before he went in, he was just like, he had tremors and trembles, and his face was like really, really red. You could see he was just like so anxious, and so there was just so much in there that needed to come out. And at the end of it, when he walked out, he had no tremors. He looked just lighter physically,
Mm.
and energetically just looked lighter. The coloring of his skin, no tremors. He could walk normally. When he was walking in, he had the shakes when he was walking in. He
Mm.
walked out fine because he was able to they were able to just allow this stuff to release.
Mm.
Um, so, but yeah, I mean, I have seen this before, and it's a really, really good explanation um of the various levels of consciousness, and obviously enlightenment being at the very, very top of pure consciousness. But I just love how, again, these colors, these chakra colors, and we've talked about them before as well, haven't we, with when you've done like painting work and things with clients.
Oh, that was
um
just visualization work, not even painting.
right, okay,
They were just
yeah,
I just asked them, yeah, what color is that heart energy now after we've kind of like worked with it, and they're like,
mm,
yeah, green. I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
here's a question for you. Bit of a fun one. Where do you reckon the collective is at the moment? Like collective humanity. Take us all. Take into account the massive awakening that we are going through for the past few years.
Collectively for the planet.
Yeah, collectively, where do you think like the collective is at the moment? So looking at that, I'm looking at around mm,
I'm probably thinking around reason and integrity. I would think
reason into that high. Fair.
I would think probably neutrality, courage, neutrality, willingness, possibly
Ah,
around about there. collectively.
Wow. I was looking more anger, pride, courage.
Yeah, well, it's going to be mixed. I think it's either going to be around there or a little bit higher.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely going to be around those orange, yellow, green areas. I think it's going to have this sort of up and down sort of
Mm.
thing going on. But
Yeah.
that's where I would like to think. I think maybe that's the ego. Maybe that's where I would like to think we're at. But maybe we are a little bit lower down. Maybe we still are trying to get through it. But again, I suppose that's just our. That's just I suppose that's my kind of like reality. But I suppose that the majority of the people that I tried to speak to are kind of on the
Oh, the ones, yeah, but the ones you speak to are not the average human being, are they?
not the average, no, superhumans.
Yeah, exactly. They're up in the purple. So
So you think we're round about what? Courage, pride, anger?
I, I, I I mean, yeah, like you said, it's difficult in it because you're gonna have loads of individuals.
Mm,
If you're thinking like collectively, like there's gonna be a lot of people who are living in guilt, shame, and apathy, but there's also gonna be a fair few, and you got to remember like the frequencies are like the higher ones are like enlightenment, peace, joy, love, reason. Those are a lot more
mm,
powerful, right?
yeah.
A lot shorter, a lot stronger. It's like that.
Mm.
Like like a flame, do you know? Like the blue flame is it's a lot stronger than the red
Mm,
one. The waves
yeah.
are longer, aren't they? When the red wave is longer than the blue wave. Yeah.
Mm,
Just taking all that into account. I reckon, yeah, collectively probably around and yeah, between anger and courage, I think
mm,
I'd say so. If you're looking at people who are like waking up, I reckon, yeah. Ones who have like not woken up and are not kind of it's not for them this lifetime
yeah.
in the survival paradigm kind of thing. Um, Majority are going to be in there, and then a lot of people like in the awakening communities, truth seekers, whatever,
Mm,
are going to be probably, I'd say, yeah, around anger, pride, courage, and
mm,
then a lot of people in green as well, I think.
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, probably on average, I'd go for like anger.
There is
You
a,
got
I
you got to
must admit,
look at like the general public as well. Do you know?
yeah, I
Like
must admit there is a lot of anger about with people, isn't there? There
yeah,
is a
yeah,
lot of something. Well, I think I mentioned it in my last video I did on the channel. This just such huge divide. A massive divide with people and just so much anger and hate and hostility between other people as well. So,
yeah. Oh yeah, you did mention that. Yeah, in the video you made.
mm,
Um, yeah, exactly. Still a lot of projection.
mm,
A lot of projection going on.
yeah, a lot of pointing at everybody else and blaming them, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So there is still a lot of work to do, definitely.
for sure. Like as you're talking about in that video about the trans kind of movement and stuff and all
Mm,
the perversion and whatnot, and it's not wrong to call it out. Of course, you've got to kind of
mm,
talk about things.
yeah,
But then the projection of it, seeing it as these people rather than oh, actually these people are a symptom of the collective.
mm,
They're a symptom. All
yeah,
that degeneracy, everything, even like the really dark stuff with like
yeah.
kids and whatnot. It's a symptom. So it's not like
Well, it's another part of the shadow being exposed, isn't it? Like collective
exactly,
shadow. Shall I knock
exactly.
this off?
Yeah, sure, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there we go.
What time
Yeah,
is it? I've got a meeting at 3, so I've got about a few more minutes.
yeah, a few more minutes. So, yeah, so interesting stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I have seen that before. It's a good chat. Um,
It's true, isn't it? You can feel
mm,
it. You can like, yeah, wow, okay.
yeah, and it's nice to reflect on for yourself and just try to put yourself on on that scale and see where you're at. And again, you're going to go up and down with what happens day to day, but um,
I think it's about where your baseline is, isn't it?
mm,
So things gonna
yeah,
happen. Like I was saying to you, like I was a angry today. I was experiencing anger. Do you know? But I look at the God view. I certainly don't have a God being vengeful. Do you know?
mm,
On the view of life antagonistic. Like I don't see like life as like prodding me. Do you know?
mm,
Like a barrel or not. Um, but yeah, but a lot of people, yeah, they live in those
mm,
world views.
yeah. And again, I suppose they're just kind of a lot of people are just penned in by that. I suppose that's just that conditioning that we've all been exposed to at some level, haven't we? So it's and it would be interesting if some of these people you could actually speak to one without other people influencing their thoughts and just ask them the questions. So what do you think about this? And I reckon a lot of them would be like, well, I did have my doubts, but I went along with it or whatever, and because I think it's like anything, if you get people on their own, then they're a totally different person. But if you get them in a collective or in a group with like-minded people that they kind of associated with,
Yeah.
then it totally changes the dynamic of that conversation.
Hmm.
Mm,
Oh yeah, massively.
yeah. So again, having that courage is, to be able to speak out and say what you need
Mm.
to say and say what you're feeling is a huge deal. It's a big thing to have that confidence.
It is, yeah. Yeah, courage is the next thing. And interestingly, talking about the etymology, courage. See, it's just below the green ray, below the heart. You
Mm,
know, courage comes from cœur, which is your core, which is corazón, which means heart. You know,
mm, right. Okay.
so it's, yeah,
Yeah.
the etymology backs it up as well. Having courage,
Mm,
yeah, just below the heart based kind of, just moving into the heart there, where you kind of
yeah.
actually
Yeah.
powerful place to be. Yeah, that
Yeah.
courage.
And I always say, like, connecting to that heart energy you're connecting to your true self. Your soul, your intuition, your spirit, whatever you want to call it. That's what you're connecting to. Um, and yeah, that's where a lot of these feelings come from. Um, these intuitive messages, intuitive feelings, it all comes from that area, rather than the analytical mind that says, turn left, turn right, and making all the judgy
Mm.
decisions. That inner voice, I suppose, comes from there. So anyway, I best let you go because you got to go and
Yeah, cheers.
speak to somebody. But it's been nice to chat
Yeah,
and
likewise, man. Thank you.
catch up, and we'll do it again soon. And
Yeah.
keep me posted on any more massive downloads.
I'll try. I'll try.
Okie dokie, dude.
Nice one. All right, mate.
Right, you take
Lovely
care, mate.
chatting, bro.
All right,
Take care, man.
bye.
Speak soon, man. Bye bye.